Hello everybody, here we are today talking about the Washington Capitals and why they could be more fun to watch next season. So before we get started with it, please make sure to subscribe if you're new to me or hockey, whatever the case may be. That being said, let's get on into it. So last season, the Capitals were able to make it back to the playoffs and avoid missing the postseason for 2 straight years. They got 91 points and they were able to get in on the final day. But they weren't necessarily a team that was super exciting. Yes, they're able to get to the Stanley Cup playoffs, but they didn't score a lot of goals. They had to play in a lot of close games. And I guess if you're a fan of that, that's not really a huge problem. But they were a team that wasn't like what we've seen in the glory days of the Capitals, where they were winning the President's Trophy and competing for the Stanley Cup, even though, a lot of times they were falling short in the postseason. But anyway, this is a little bit different of a team. But I do think that the offseason has been kind of fun to watch out for the Capitals, as they've made a lot of trades in recent days that are going to be really interesting to watch out for in this season. The first one being the Pierre-Luc Dubois trade. Now, Pierre-Luc Dubois was traded over from LA as part of the Darcy Kuemper deal, and this is going to be one to watch out for because PLD is a young-ish player that is on a long-term contract that is a good player. He is coming off of a bad year with the Kings, but is in a spot now, or maybe he can have a bounce back with the Capitals. Now, I don't exactly know how this one's going to work out, as PLD is on the 4th team in his career already and is wanted out of multiple markets. Is this necessarily going to be a situation where the Capitals are going to see him play out the whole contract? I can't say at the moment, but I think that kind of has an appeal for this team. But also when you realize that they are 28th in the league for goals for per 60, a team that struggled on the power play and in general is looking for additional help from their forwards, this could be a very fun thing to watch out for because PLD has scored 20 goals or more multiple times. He is somebody that can elevate his game and is just going to be in a great spot to get minutes in Washington, where maybe the spotlight isn't going to be on him as much as the expectations are lower. I'm hoping that he can kind of revive his career at this point because I think we're all aware that right now he's not necessarily going to be somebody that is ever going to go out there and win the Hart by any means, but could provide a great addition for this team. And I really do think if things go well, maybe he could kind of take that leadership role and help this team in the post-veteran era, as a lot of these Washington players are going to be leaving in the coming years. But anyway, that is that. As for the Andrew Mangiapane trade, this one is fun as well. This is not as enticing as the PLD trade because of the fact that there's a lot less risk with this. He is a free agent, I believe, after this season. So if things don't work out, you know how it goes with a player that might not fit their timeline perfectly and is on a 1-year deal. So there's that. But if things go well for them, obviously they could try to have him around. Maybe he's going to sign like a 2 or 3 year extension. I don't really know at the moment. But if things go really bad for the team, but he's playing well, guess what? That turns into a trade deadline piece for a team looking to get a veteran player that could get them some goals and things of that nature as they try to go on to a playoff run. Now, things are looking really fun with him as well because he's going to be helping out the forward group as you're seeing him and PLD get an opportunity to help out this team goal scoring wise. And I think with what we're seeing, there are fun pieces. We'll always talk about like Dylan Strome is the name that comes to mind, but Hendrix Lapierre is a name that's getting NHL opportunities. And you're starting to see with Washington, some of these younger guys get their NHL cup of coffee, if you will. But you are also wanting to have veteran players to help them out and be able to take some pressure off of them. So Mangiapane, he scored 35 goals one time in a season. Not necessarily saying he's going to go out there and do that, but with him and PLD, maybe in a really good season, they're both able to get 25 goals. I don't want to get too optimistic here because I've done that before with players and trades and talking about, oh, well, if they do this with more minutes, things are going to work out great here. Not necessarily always going to be the case, but I do see a world where Washington is able to score more goals. Now, are they going to be a top 10 team for goals next season? I'm going to say probably not, but there's going to be some additional help, and I'm hoping that maybe that's going to be an aspect for fans to say, oh, I want to watch this because is PLD going to be part of our long-term future? Is Mangiapane going to be able to have a breakout year again? All things that are worth watching. And then the final thing to talk about here at the moment is the Logan Thompson trade, as this one was weird as at the time that he was traded, he was signing autographs for fans in Vegas. So that is unfortunate, but it also seems like what I read online, he was the one that requested a trade. It is what it is, unfortunate timing, but looking at this, he's going to be going to the East Coast, not technically because Washington's not on the Atlantic Ocean, but still going to be going and traveling out east and getting an opportunity to really compete. But I think one thing that I love about this is you have him and Charlie Lindgren that could be that 1A, 1B, that 2-punch, that 1-2 punch, if you will, in net. That could make Washington a little bit more likely to get to the playoffs. I'm not necessarily saying that they will be because you have a lot of other teams that are younger, that have more talent, that are more hopeful to try to get to the playoffs, that have those higher expectations. But if he and Lindgren are able to provide stability in net and Washington is able to score more goals and maybe see their power play be better and see some help from those guys that aren't necessarily in their mid-30s. It could be able to provide more of a break, I guess, if you will, for the veterans. Could be a really good thing for them. And this all kind of culminates in 3 interesting trades for Washington in like the past week. I can't remember when PLD was traded, but it's not been too long. And in recent days, I think Washington fans might not necessarily be going out there and getting a Logan Thompson jersey right away or an Andrew Mangiapane jersey right away, but they are saying, okay, well, we could be more fun to watch next year. And then, of course, you still have the super fun storyline of whether or not Alex Ovechkin is going to break Wayne Gretzky's scoring record. It feels like it will happen, and I think at this point, with the team not being crazy bad at the moment, where they could be a fringe playoff team, you couldn't really ask for a whole lot more. They won a championship back in 2018. They had a lot of really good years before that. They have a veteran player that has played his whole career with him that is on the verge of passing the great one for goal scoring, and some interesting younger players that could help them out and be, you know, on that fringe where they aren't just a bottom 3 team where you have Ovi just playing an insane amount of minutes and just trying to score while they're down, you know, 5-1 or something like that. There was some ugly losses for the team last year, but maybe they aren't as ugly, and maybe there aren't as many one-score games. They get a little bit more comfortable. They might have like a 5-2 win where they get an empty netter or something like that. I can't really tell you at the moment, but I do think that the Capitals should be a little bit more entertaining, get more of those fans to get out of the recliner a little bit and lean a little bit closer to the game they're watching. But anyway, what are your thoughts on the Washington Capitals? Do you think they'll be a more fun team next season? Do you think they'll score more goals? Do you think that they will have a great goalie tandem with Lindgren and then, of course, Thompson? Let me know your thoughts down below in the comments. Also, please make sure to like this video if you enjoyed it. Subscribe if you're new. Everybody stay safe. Have a great night. And you love hockey, all right? Goodbye, Brigadiers and Brigadettes. This is your captain signing off. Have a great night.